welcome into Chill with Clayton. We are so excited to have you all here today. By the way, this is actually being filmed at my house right now. This is the first ever Chill with Clayton filmed at my house, besides the other two podcast episodes I did before this. But today we're so excited to have you all here today on with Chill with Clayton. By the way, before we even start the video, I want you to give us a like and a subscribe here on our YouTube channel. If anyone is listening on our Spotify or Apple Podcast platform, give us a like and a follow. And remember, on all platforms, to tell your friends and family about our show. We would love for this word and this message and our show just to get spread around so we can just share a smile, share a little happiness with everybody going on around the world today. Also, if you want to be a part of the Chill with Clayton podcast, give us an email today at chillwithclayton@gmail.com. We will answer those emails. We will answer for any questions, any topics, and if you want to be a part of the show, if you want to be a guest on our show, please hit us up once again at chillwithclayton@gmail.com. We also have our daily Bible verses as well that come out every day on our Chill with Clayton Instagram page. We will also have a nice little music that I can connect with the song that is picked by yours truly. So if you want to check that out, go give that a check out. We'd love for you to check that out today. But I am really excited about these couple episodes coming out in the next 2 weeks. Today we're going to start off with our first topic. This is part one of an episode. I will actually be filming part two very soon. That will come out next week, by the way. But this is the show title this week is called "Why is Christianity Getting Popular Again Around the World in the United States?" And we're going to be talking today about the current rise of contemporary Christian music today. Can't wait to get into that topic. So folks, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so like I was saying, we're talking today about part one of our "Why is Christianity Getting Popular Again" series. This is on contemporary Christian music and the current rise that is going on in the contemporary Christian music scene. Now, contemporary Christian music has been around for quite a while, starting in, of course, the 60s and 70s. Of course, there was the rise and going into the 80s and 90s with artists such as Stryper, who is kind of like the hair metal rock band inspired ones. Their biggest hit was called "To Hell with the Devil," and if you ask anybody from the 80s or 90s, they will probably remember that name. Actually, for King and Country, one of the current contemporary Christian music art groups actually teamed up with them on their song in their movie. I think it was called "Unsung Hero," if I'm correct. But there is also some other artists that you might know of. DC Talk. That was one of the biggest kind of hip-hop rap game that was going on alongside Kirk Franklin. Then you had a more pop or country kind of style with Amy Grant and Stephen Curtis Chapman. You also had other artists rising at this time as well. I mean, there was a lot of big Christian artists starting to kind of find their footing going into the 90s. You had the Newsboys, you had Casting Crowns, you had, you had DC Talk, you had Switchfoot a little bit, you had some of those other big bands. Skillet was kind of starting to rise into the early 2000s, along with Mercy Me, Jeremy Camp, Toby Mac was starting to make his hits, Lauren Daigle was starting to get going in the 2010s, along with other contemporary Christian artists. But now we get into 2024/2025, where contemporary Christian music is on the rise yet again. Now, the main two songs that are behind this new rise are Forrest Frank's "Your Way's Better" and Brandon Lake's "Hard Fought Hallelujah." Now, he originally performed this by himself as well, which is still a very good song, but he also has another version that has been getting more streams, and that is with country music superstar Jelly Roll. And that has been the two songs that have been currently rising up at the charts now, and has actually stayed in the Billboard Hot 100 for almost now to 20 to 30 weeks. Both songs have been on the Billboard Hot 100. Now, the Billboard Hot 100 is where you're going to hear you're going to see songs from people like Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter. You're going to go for guys like Morgan Wallen, Post Malone. If you're thinking about those artists, they're hanging out in that top 100 all the time. So it is really cool seeing two Christian artists, also with Forrest Frank and Brandon Lake, who are now a part of this Billboard Hot 100. Now, the first instances of Christian music actually getting integrated into the mainstream in 2014, or even back in even 2006 when she recorded this hit, Carrie Underwood, who is a big-time country music superstar. I love her music. She recorded a song by the name of Something in the Water. This was back in 2014. Now, this one song was kind of about, like, there's something special about the water, like when you get into like a baptize or something. Now, there really isn't anything special in it, but it kind of, it kind of gives it a cool little feeling. Then in 2018, there was a big hit by somebody I recently said, Lauren Daigle, and this song was called You Say. If you, you say I am loved when I've been in the name. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. If you know that lyric, that actually got at number 29 in 2018 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it was also topping the charts in Contemporary Christian and the Adult Contemporary charts. But like I was saying, with Brandon Lake and Forrest Frank, their songs have stayed on the Hot 100. They've stayed on the Hot 100 like 20, 30 weeks now, like I was saying. And now, the most recent song that Forrest Frank actually recorded, Lemonade, which was with I think even like a Christian camp group. I think their name is the Figs. I really haven't researched high enough on them, but their song Lemonade actually this week actually made it to the Billboard Hot 100 at number 77. So you're asking me, going like, wait a minute, why are these two or three songs up there on the Billboard Hot 100? Like, what is so different about Forrest Frank and Brandon Lake right now? Well, there's something right now that Gen Z, even millennials, or even, I know some of you Gen Alphas are also on your phones and on TikTok and Instagram and Snapper Chat, is funny enough, Billy Bob Thornton calls it in that T-Mobile commercial. But they are the ones that are behind getting this song on the rise. And then you're hearing like people like, for instance, with the collaboration of Hard-Fought Hallelujah with Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll is a country music superstar. He's got all the tats. He's almost like almost like Post Malone a little bit. Almost like Post Malone a little bit. But people are connecting with him because he's been through the prison system, and people are going like, oh my gosh, like Jelly Roll's with Brandon Lake. I gotta listen to Brandon Lake. Or with Forrest Frank. Like, there are so many big-time people that have connected his song and are going like, oh, I need to go check this out. I need to go check out Forrest Frank. The thing is, the recent headline we've been seeing with Forrest Frank is actually YouTube recently just did a new stat called the monthly listeners chart. Now, I know Spotify's been doing that, probably Pandora's been doing that, probably SoundCloud's probably doing that with the rap game, but he had more views than Drake. Yeah, let that settle in. Forrest Frank, a contemporary Christian artist who was part of Surfaces. Now, don't forget about that. Yeah, he was part of Surfaces a couple years ago. But a contemporary Christian artist, Forrest Frank, has more views currently has more monthly listeners on YouTube than Drake. Now, we remember how popular Drake was back in 2010. Now, yes, that whole feud with, you know that whole feud going on with him and, man, I can't remember who it was, but you know who I'm talking about, has maybe probably lessened his viewers by a lot. Oh, Kendrick Lamar. Thank you, Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar. But it's kind of crazy to think that Forrest Frank right now has more higher monthly viewers than Drake. Let that settle in. And I even looked into this more when I went into the Billboard 200, actually, which is the album chart for Billboard. Child of God, which was his first album, Forrest Frank's first album, and Child of God 2, his recent album, are at 71 and 74 in the 200 chart. Yes, that is with albums like the big Taylor Swift albums, the big Morgan Wallen albums. Those albums, it's right there in that midst. Now, no, it's not in the top 10 or top 20 where those are, but it's still in the 70s. Like, there are people out there who are listening to Child of God, and I'm one of those guys that is listening to this album, and it continues to rise. I don't know. This thing could end up in the top 50s before we know it. It could end up in the top 50s. Now, other art, Brandon Lake's recent album, his was at 147 on the Billboard Hot 200 of albums. And now, by the way, this is albums listened all time. Like, I saw George Strait's albums hanging around on there, which, love the king of country music. Love me some George Strait. But I also looked at the Artist 100. Forrest Frank is at 29. He's at 29 in the top artists right now in the Billboard Hot 100. He's at 29. Like I told you, Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, Morgan Wallen, Travis Scott, those kind of guys, they're up there in that top 10. Forrest Frank is only at 29. He was higher than some artists. I can't remember who it was, but like he was higher than some bigger mainstream artists. He's at 29 and he is still going up. Still going up at this time. Brandon Lake was at number 70. And what I've recently heard is Dusty Bibles, the song by Josiah Queen, is starting to rise up into that chart and could maybe even sorry about that, y'all. That was my timer I was doing. But it could even rise up there with it. As I was saying, I'm going to wrap this up a little bit here. Looking at it right now, Gen Z and even some of Gen Alpha, like I said, are leading this chart talk about it. And actually, according to the NPR, they actually had a 60% growth rate that has been happening in the last 5 years. And like I said, other artists leading the charge include Josiah Queen, Ann Wilson, who is actually opening right now for Morgan Wallen's big stadium tour. She is actually opening the show, so that's really, really cool. I kind of consider her a Christian and country artist, who highly recommend, by the way, to listen to. Other artists include Crowder, Phil Wickham, Seth Schluter. I could go on and on probably about these artists. And then, of course, there's the rap game artists that are going on right now. Of course, you think of guys who began the rap game up there were like guys like Lecrae, Andy Mineo. You've probably heard of those names. Tadashi, KB, who is still going strong. Caleb Gordon's been one of the big risers recently, along with Holby, Miles Minnick as well, 1K Pew, Social Club Misfits. I could probably go on and on about those leading that charge. And by the way, like contemporary Christian music is getting on the rise because these guys were playing at Rolling Loud Music Festival, one of the biggest rap festivals in all of America. There has also been crossovers, like I said. Cody Johnson recently did a song with CeCe Winans called Come Jesus Come. They recently did a song. Like I said, Jelly Roll recently did a song with Brandon Lake. Speaking of Ann Wilson, Lainey Wilson was part of her recent album Rebel recently. Carrie Underwood was she released back in 2018 her take of Because He Lives, and that thing rose up the charts. Morgan Wallen did a song called Don't Think Jesus. Riley Green recently did a song called Jesus Saves. Cody Johnson did some songs about His Name is Jesus and other songs. There's been a lot more of the Jesus music is starting to come back. And more of those themes of Jesus being back in music again are starting to come back. Like, I've recently now seen, and this is kind of a hint into next week's episode, but I was recently looking over Instagram, and someone from the band, the band with, oh, dang it, I forgot her name, but she's one of the judges on The Masked Singer. Yeah, Nicole Scherzinger. Nicole Scherzinger mates in her group, she recently converted to Christianity. You heard about there's like these other artists that are starting to say, hey, like I want to be a part of this game. I want to be a part of this Christian music game. I mean, we cannot forget back in 2020 when Kanye tried to jump into the contemporary Christian music game with his album. Contemporary Christian music is back on the rise, y'all. And I don't know where it could go from here, but I am on board. And we just need to keep our eyes peeled on this. And by the way, I know I've gotten longer than 20 minutes. My bad. This is just something I am really excited about. This is a big series that I've been really excited about. But for y'all's entertainment and making sure this stays under 30 minutes. We will have part 2 next week. It will be about athletes, celebrities, musicians that are recently falling in love again with Jesus. I can't wait to show y'all that next week. I'm going to be filming that here very soon. So guys, let's go ahead and wrap up today's episode with our daily Bible verse of the week. Alright guys, now here is your verse of the week. This verse of the week, by the way, is 1 Timothy 4:14. Do not neglect your gift, which was given to you through prophecy when the body of elders laid their hands on you. Now, you might be asking, why did I pick this verse this week? Why I picked this verse is going back and looking what we're going to be talking about here in the next this week and next week. These people have special talents. Thinking about athletes, they're very athletic. They were born with the gift of playing good at baseball or football or soccer or hockey or whatever you can think of. Or they're a great musician or a great scientist or a great whatever you can think of. What it means to not neglect your gift that was given to you by God. This was given to you by God. Don't forget that. It was given to you by God to spread the word of his name. Now looking at a guy like Forrest Frank, thinking about what recently happened with Forrest Frank, actually, he broke his back. And funny enough, this guy's healed in 2 weeks. 2 weeks! This guy has been going out, and now, I'm not saying this is just Forrest Frank. This is many other people around the U.S. right now and around the world. But even when his back was hurt, he still went and said, I'm going to make a song about this. And he did. And it's been a big song hit. He is using his gift, that he is very musically talented. He's a very charismatic as well. And he is showing off his gifts that God gave him to other people so they can hear and see Jesus in him. Because that's what we were told to do. We were told to go and say, hey, we want to show your gift. Like for me, it is to teach kids. Like God told me, hey, you should go out and teach kids. I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. If anyone does not know my story really well, I wanted to go out and like what I'm watching right now on my television screen at this moment is the Little League World Series. Like, I wanted to go broadcast Little League. I wanted to go to Major League Baseball games. I wanted to go to the Super Bowl. I wanted to go to those moments and broadcast that in front of everybody. But God said, hang on. Let me go out and do something for kids. You want to still go and give people, you still want to go talk to people, talk to them about my word. That's what God told me to do. Now, like, I've been helping out at summer camps and stuff like that because that's my gift. That's my gift. Like my dad, he's very good at like handyman stuff and he's helping out at the church. My mom is also very good at teaching. She's helping out with her ELA. There are people out there right now that are using their gifts and talents that God gave them and they're using it for his use to show his glory. That's what 1 Timothy 4:14 is trying to tell us. There is also other verses as well. Deuteronomy 6:6-7, Matthew 13:31-32. You'll have Pentecost in Acts chapter 2, Isaiah 40 chapter verse 3, or chapter 40, verse 3, and then the Great Commission in Matthew chapter 28, verses 19 through 20. To say that all is that there is a rise of Christianity going in right now in America. Gen Z is leading that charge. Millennials, you're leading it a little too. Don't worry. I'm not forgetting about y'all. Also, the other generations, you're also helping along with that. But mainly, the news is seeing that Gen Z's the ones that are rising it. Boys, men are doing it, and yes, you ladies are doing it too as well. I'm not forgetting about y'all. But right now, there is a current rise going on in Christianity yet again. And yeah, I know. Like, there's also some other things that as rose it again. Like, our president is very passionate about his Christianity. Now, that is up to your discretion on you think if he's a Christian or not. I don't want to get into that I don't want to get into that argument. In my humble opinion, I think he is. That's my word. If you don't agree with it, oh well, we can talk about that later. But, as I was saying, there's some big moments going on right now. I think Christianity is on the rise. Could that be because maybe Jesus is coming back soon? And we all know he's coming back soon. But is it coming back sooner as we think? That I do not know, because we don't know the place or the time when that's going to happen. But all that to say, we're going to close off our episode today. Remember, look out for part 2 next week about athletes, musicians, celebrities, and other big famous stars that have been recently getting into Christianity and spreading it around, and we can't wait to talk about that here next week for y'all. But to close out our episode, remember, like and subscribe. Go check out our channels. Check out the Instagram page. If you have any questions, topics, questions, like I said, or if you want to be a part of the show, chillwithclayton@gmail.com. We'd love to have you on the show. And I want this show to be for people. I want it to be used for God's glory. And it's up to y'all to help me make sure that happens. And then, of course, God, if you think this show is something special, please share it with your friends and family. Because I want everybody to hear about this and just to give a smile on their face, like I tell you all the time. But, as I always say, we're going to close off today's episode. Remember, don't mess with Texas. God bless. And keep Jesus first. And like I always say, adios, y'all. We'll see you next week for part 2. And yeah!